shook my hand. Now, when an institution, medical institution smiles, it means compassion smiles. Medical doctor, medical student has got two qualities, medicine and compassion. Medicine always we learn, but compassion we don't learn. But I was very happy to see this ILBS has got a unique quality of smiling that is indication that you are the institution famous for compassion also, medicine and compassion. So God bless you.
Honorable Minister of Science and Technology and Sciences, Dr. Jitu Joshi, Dr. International Research Institute, Professor Bulbul, Director ILBS, Dr. S. Kesari, Vice Chancellor ILBS, Dr. Vidul Kumar Daga, Coordinator scientists, clinicians, researchers, faculty members, scientists, and delegates. It is a privilege to welcome this celebration and Institute of Sciences, the Department of Science and Technology, and CEFIPRA. It marks the milestone of the but a celebration of collaborative science, innovation, and shared commitment towards advancing research in liver and diseases. Stylistic to the stage for the ceremony. May I also request Dr. Stage, Dr. join us on stage. May I please request Madam Sylvia to please join us on stage?
सरस्वती वंदना चला
शारदा नमः शारदा नमः शारदा Third to participate the Science and Technology Sciences, Karnataka, India. It's a great honor, Professor. Next, Vice Chancellor, Dr. Thank you, sir. Next, Dr. मेरे को नाम को देखो मेरे को So, Dr. उसके साथ सर प्रोफेसर से नमस्कार डॉक्टर सतीदा डॉक्टर नितिन सिंह सर को Yes.
Well, it's indeed to welcome Dr. Jitendra Singh, when I have known for more than 30 years as one of our leading physicians, and heading even J&K chapter. I remember in 90s interacting with him. I think diabetes was one of his very passionate area where he used to work. It's great to see you, sir, now leading the Department of Science and Technology, and the transformational change what you're trying to bring about in science culture in the country. So a very, very warm welcome to you, sir, uh, in this third anniversary of liver and metabolic disease Network-InFLiMeN. We are indeed grateful that you are here today, and that's testament to that fact. Thank you, sir, for coming for this meeting. Very warm welcome to Dr. Who doesn't need any introduction, renowned pediatrician and former member of Niti Aayog, who is shaped the medical education and healthcare in the last 5, 6 years in this country, the way we are now seeing health available and reaching to doorstep of the country. So thank you for sparing and coming this morning in this important meeting here. Also, the director representative from WHO, our director Dr. Sarin, distinguished faculty, distinguished guests, researchers, a very warm welcome to you. You know, science is not of any use till it brings about transformational change in lives of whosoever is existing on this earth in a way that environment remains sustainable. And, you know, the very purpose of this meeting is to work towards the, you know, the menace of liver-related diseases which we are seeing now. And in a short span of time, we will see that it may become one of the top non-communicable disease, and it is already there, affecting millions of people worldwide. Professor Samin is leading that fight from front, not only nationally but globally. He brought forward the fatty liver on the national and international stage, and there can't be anyone else than him to carry forward that torch. And your presence here today and your deliberations here today would be very, very critical to continue to work for further progress in liver-related diseases, whether it is fatty liver, liver cancer, other diseases. So, without much ado, I just want to again welcome you, and I hope you will have a comfortable stay during the day and have useful scientific interactions and collaborations. We all are looking forward on this third anniversary. Once again, a very, very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Also, every successful initiative is built on perseverance and collaboration. It is now my honor to Professor Dr. Shiv Kumar Suri, Director ILBs, for presenting the journey targets.
Now, it's indeed one of the great triumphs to see us, a real scientist as well as a torchbearer of new innovations, and Dr. Vinod Paul with us, a dear friend, and of course, who has shaped the policies in the country for over a long time, and Sylvian for being with us, Dr. Nitin Seth, Praveen, and all of those who have joined here today. I will take you briefly through the journey, but more importantly, for the future. So it was in 2024, the same day, July the 4th, that the InFLiMeN was inaugurated. And as you would see from here, uh, we also had Dr. Karandikar, who was the Secretary DST at that time with us. And Dr. Jiten Singh ji inaugurated this on July 4th. And many, many French people had joined, and I think some of them, probably Christian Berthard and Emmanuel, might have joined us online from overseas. This journey of 2024 further matured on 2025 March when we signed a cooperation agreement, and there was a proposal for a physical center. It is the director in CERN, Professor D.D.S. Samuel, and it was proposed that a physical center, which even Dr. Jiten Singh ji in his first inaugural address also said, we will set up a physical center, and there was a commitment, verbal, not written, from French group that they would put up a good amount of money that the government of India takes. Somehow we need more time for this. And the goals of InFLiMeN were to serve like a virtual university, promote development of new products, technologies for liver and metabolic diseases with Indian and French collaborators. And we are very happy that many people joined after the birth of InFLiMeN. So CEFIPRA was the main connector for us. Science and technology did a lot of work for us, and the network InFLiMeN started. It is the Indian and French at that time, but now I would say it is inflammation, metabolic, and liver health, and the node network works. The leadership in InFLiMeN, Dr. Samuel, the director and the CEO of INSERM, Professor Isha Moru, Professor Christian Bortard, both who have shaped the policies in the French, and Professor G.P. Talwar, who has been with us all these years, and Professor Nitin Seth and Dr. Nirupma Trihanpati. This was the Paris chapter in 25 whole, and this was in uh, the meeting was held in sorry, I'm forgetting. It was held in yeah, okay. And these are the French partners, and these are the Indian partners. And industry was also invited, but could not get enough industry support. So I must say, our journey in 2 years has not been the best because we couldn't get a lot of industry support. But yes, two projects, major projects were finished, and several are in pipeline. So today, what we planned, sir, was to plan the next level of support for this. And the next level came from the last visit of
President Macron, and here DDS Samuel was there, and I was also there. And this was in the high level academic meeting which was held at AIMS. And we said that, sir, we want a physical center, and we had a nod, a tacit approval of that from the president of French Republic. So now, sir, we need your blessings that we can actually have a physical center which we can develop. And I'll tell you how we have now conceived the future for us. So the next phase starts today. Actually, it is the second anniversary. It was my mistake. I said it is third anniversary. I never realized anniversary is after the end of 1 year. It's now it is 2 years complete, so it should be second anniversary. But let's say whatever we call the next phase is like this. So I put up 5 P. Whenever you have a major change, what is the problem? How much is the population affected? What policies can support or guide? Are there physicians involved, and what is the product? The first is the problem, and fat in liver, according to us, and also probably Dr. Paul, who initiated all this several years ago in the Niti Aayog, is a core to all non-communicable diseases. So 1 in 3 Indians is suffering. So whether obese, about 80-85% would have fat in the liver, with liver enzymes being high, and the risk of diabetes is 4 times. Dyslipidemia is 2.5 times. Hypertension, dementia, Alzheimer's, heart disease, stroke, and liver cancers. All cancers of the body about 1.4 times more. And this is based on a large UK Biobank study of 327 and has been multiplied. And of course, we believe that diabetes is a liver disease, and therefore there is a huge connect with diabetic and endocrine. And we thank Dr. Jiten Singh ji for the support in this. Now the population. One more time, all those countries which are shown in red have more than 30% of the population with fat in the liver. And you can see that India is in the red. This was 2018. Now the numbers have gone up. So almost 345 million, 34 crores fat, and this is probably the biggest epidemic or pandemic that you can call. Third thing in the 5 Ps is policies. And sir, I want your kind attention and a slight brain teaser. We want a new modus apprentice. 75 years, the projects are scattered. For example, a project for liver will go to ICMR also, to DST also, DBT, CSIR, or on brain or anywhere else. But the 2 projects out of 10 given by ICMR are just different 2 projects given by D, because they don't want duplication. But they also don't want connectivity. दे से कि ये इस वाले में है तो इसलिए इसको फंड मत करो, ये इस वाले में है इसलिए नहीं. बट दे विल नॉट से ये दोनों एक जैसे हो सकते हैं क्या. एंड देयरफॉर व्हाट I propose, and the InFLiMeN proposes, is to have an organ and product specific development for next 25 years, 2047. If we can change our modus operandi, how do we define questions? So I propose, sir, these 2 steps. Clinicians, scientists to question, is this a good question? Then process the question and then decide, okay, out of these, we will be able to develop 2 products or 3 products. Today is a day, sir. 17 different groups from across India are coming and they are presenting project proposals. They are all afraid कि यार हमारी बातें किसी और को पता लग जाएंगी, हमारे सीक्रेट चले जाएंगे. But ऐसा नहीं होगा. These are only concepts. And what our job is today as InFLiMeN Nodal Center is to explain to everybody. मेरी बात उसने सुनी, उसकी उसने. And can we develop joint projects or joint thinking questions? And then after this, we propose this to the funding agencies. कि भाई लिवर की ये 5 प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, सब लोगों की सुन के अब आप इस पे प्रपोजल बनाओ। राइट नाउ द कॉल द प्रपोजल इज बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द वेस्ट और व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द ईस्ट, बट देयर इज नो एक्चुअल collective collaborating work. And therefore, this is a new concept, and I thought I will propose because you changed the country's thinking, sir, as science and technology. So, what is the new avatar? This is step 4, which is for physicians and maybe scientists. I'll give you an example. Inflammation has 4 verticals, sir. Fat causes inflammation, causes disease. Alcohol also causes inflammation, causes similar disease. Viruses also cause inflammation, cause disease. Drugs also cause inflammation and disease. And this will be true for all organs. And we had in the morning Professor Gokhale. He gave the out lecture on basic science, not on policies. And he says we should also think not as something which is different, we should think in this system specific way. And we very much like this concept where we can have organ specific new, and I'll show you how it will work, sir. And so we put in research, we put in industry, we design and think of new products, new drugs, and drug trials. So this is the proposal, sir, for your consideration of the next level. So what is the new product? It's a National Center for Liver and Metabolic Diseases. हम लोग प्रधानमंत्री की अगर बात करके सोचें तो सृजन भारत में समाधान विश्व के लिए, क्रिएटिव इंडिया solutions for the world. With this theme, thank you for your clap. I just thought, well, thank you very much. Then why ILBS? Not because I work here and people are here and you are in ILBS, just to say why for liver I have proposed without any partisan advantage. It's a global liver university. About 1.5 million liver patients seen and their EMRs are available, 1400 liver transplant materials. There are 74 clinicians and 12 basic science faculty independently, more than 60 DM MCH students, more than 50 PhDs working in liver. We have comparative medicine starting from zebrafish to rabbits and others being done. So all these put together can give inputs in projects submitted to the national center. So what if we have a project, DBT will send it to 5 experts and they will give advice. Here there are people, those who can give advice on the spot when such projects are being submitted, sir. And the biggest strength that we have is a National Liver Disease Biobank. It has a capacity of 6.5 million samples. We have only collected 2.5, but this is available. आपको 400 acute liver failure चाहिए, you have a biomaterial. आपको explant liver tissue चाहिए, it is available. Liver cancer चाहिए, it is available. So what the advantage is that you don't connect basic science. अगर NII वाला है उसमें samples चाहिए, अरे भाई तुम इधर आओ, किसी और को चाहिए, you can get collected. So it's not that ILBS prefers to showcase, but that you have a biorepository of the highest, and this is the only biobank, sir, in whole Asia, which is accredited biobank, sir, and it is barcoded. Now, sir, this is the proposal is a specialized delivery arm, not a parallel agency. For example, sir, ICMR, DST, DBT, they will give all diseases, but this National Center, Liver and Metabolic. Clinical patient volume available in these basic science groups are low. Here it is a high volume group. The degree granting power being a deemed university is available. Short courses you can guide, Dr. Paul Saab can guide. In-house biobanking. And most important, sir, government has given 8,000 crores for clinical trials. CIDESCO is doing. It is not one place which is doing training for these CROs. What our aim is to connect the stakeholders, the PI, the physician or surgeon, the pharma, the regulators, and the patients मैंने दवाई बनाई, फार्मा कहता है कि सर हम नहीं कर सकते, या रेगुलेटर कहता है कि मेरे एंड पॉइंट्स ये हैं, एंड can be assessed collectively by PIs, pharma, regulator, and patient. So there is no delay. The liver protein can be developed at the NCLMD. So this is my last slide to tell you, sir, that National Center for Liver and Metabolic Diseases, which phase 2 is to have surgeon भारत में समाधान विश्व के लिए. And how? So in first year, if you give your blessings, what we want to do is enroll adjunct faculty, 100 Indians and 100 overseas. It could be French, help of Sylvian and Safipra by Dr. Nitin, but any the best of the brains for the liver and metabolic. So we will have 200 adjunct faculties. We will also invite startups, those who can help us in having precision medicine fellowships, and we are very lucky. Morning we showed a video, sir. ILBS is the only place which has a faculty from IIT Delhi for AI and machine learning. Isha is here. So we are starting AI ML fellowships. We want 5 verticals, sir, and this can be a first global call, and we will initiate at least 10 or more clinical trials under the Liver Forum. This is our agenda for the first year, sir. For the third years onwards, we would like to propose focus themes, products, patents, startups, and self-sustaining co-funding. In 5, we will have multi-stage registry, and we may be able to give policy briefs if the government considers us worthy for new initiatives in liver and metabolic disease. Global policies and guidelines. The idea was to have collective efforts, two-step process for organ-specific research and one national platform, and we respectfully seek the Honorable Minister Sir's support to establish the National Center for Liver and Metabolic Disease. We planned it in phases, sir, and the first phase, starting this year to 27-28, is to have this, and with your blessings, India might start a new way of connecting physicians, clinicians, surgeons with basic science, industry, policymakers, and of course, public, sir. Thank you for the kind attention.
As sir mentioned, however, that is patients, virtual and artificial identifier. It's the element of such as analytics, AI lab, and Institute of Sciences is first dedicated to artificial intelligence laboratory focused on liver healthcare, conceived as a hub of digital innovation, laboratory integration. So we can see this video. Identifier is the element of such as analytics. The cost of its kind in hospital settings in India. From your lab, I guess very sweet clinical expertise to make healthcare more accessible, preventable, and personalized.
I'm Dr. Harshvardhan Teresia, Associate Professor in the Department of Hepatology and taking care of the liver facilities. I would like to showcase some of the core areas that we are working, which includes in the field of acute liver failure, where we're using multimodal data, including CT images, as well as demographic data to predict mortality as well as the urgency of a transplant. We're using these models for beta blocker assessment in patients who present with acute variceal bleed, and how non-invasively can we predict the responsiveness. We also look at it from the emergency spectrum. As we know, we have close to about thousands of patients coming into the emergency. So these models are being used to stratify these patients once they are admitted to the hospital. Some of the core areas of research that we're looking at is multimodal data analysis, 3D anthropometric screening, thermal screening, as well as various biosensors for NCD prevention. The other areas where artificial intelligence has a good use for ILBS includes in the spectrum of data automation. ILBS has an EHR system since 2009 with a varied amount of data. The use of artificial intelligence enables us to use these spectrums in different specialities of the hospital, including the administrative side of it.
Expert engineers in the diverse domain of computer vision, machine and deep learning, and biosensors, and dedicated nursing staff for clinical data handling. I am very privileged to join you as assistant professor to teach AI to the clinical doctors to work in close and direct interaction with clinical experts under the guidance of our director, Sir Dr. S.K. Sari. This great interdisciplinary synergy journey has started.
Thank you. And thank you, sir, for sharing the remarkable vision of improvement. The strength of implementing lies in the multidisciplinary collaboration. We shall now have a introduction of the principal investigators and collaborative institutions that are contributing to this network. Request all the players to come out and mention their areas of work and their place. May I please call upon Dr. Senthil, Dr. Jayanta, Dr. Kashyap Dubey, Dr. Ashish Vyas, Dr. Kanika Kaushal, Dr. Omkar Bedi, Dr. Sumit Pal Singh. The PIs of the afternoon sessions should also join, please. Sir, I'm Dr. Kanika Kaushal. I've been working here as associate professor in the Department of Clinical Research and Epidemiology for 5 years now. My main area of work is cross section of policy development, evidence synthesis towards policy development, and implementation and rollout of policy nationwide. So we are working on the national NCD program, which covers NAFL for now past 4 years, and successfully implemented program across states now, sir, across India. We are also working across different age groups, starting from 11 to 17 children cohort and at young adults 18 to 25 cohort for early identification of risk factors towards MSLD, the fatty liver disease, and for reversal of early stages of to prevent liver cancer. Thank you.
Hello, sir. I am Dr. Senthil Venugopal. I am working as a professor in South Asian University, New Delhi. I have completed my PhD in All India Institute of Medical Sciences. After that, I went for postdoc for nearly 10 years in USA. Then I joined ILBS for 2 years as Ramalingam Swami Fellow. Then I moved to South Asian University. There I continued still till I am continuing. And I work in the area of metabolic diseases and how also I work on how HBV and HCV affects the liver. I do research in the basic sciences area. And last 10 years, I've been working in this MASH, metabolic associated liver diseases, and how microRNAs and regulate this liver problem, liver complications. So I have proposed here like to collaborate with this center by metabolic and liver disease, MetALD. So I explore the mechanisms, how MetALD is mediated and how we can detect early using microRNAs biomarkers. Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Ashish Vyas. I am working in the area of acute on chronic liver failure, mostly immunology aspect. But in this meeting, I have presented that how ddPCR can be used for rapid detection of sepsis for the acute liver failure patients, and also it can be applied for the neonatal sepsis, which is causing the major mortality among the neonates. So this strategy will help in rapid detection and diagnosis, and it will help the mortality among the vulnerable population. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sumit Pal Singh. I'm an associate professor at Shiv Nadar. So we are focusing on many aspects, but one of the aspects that we are interested in is starvation. So how starvation actually leads to fatty liver. So it's very well known that if you have overnutrition, like high fat diet, there is fatty liver, but it's also appreciated that liver becomes a central source of energy when there is undernutrition, and it actually becomes fatty. And how does this fatty liver occur, and how do the recovery? So as an example, during West Bengal famine that happened previous to independence, it is very well documented that for the next 2 generations, there was a higher chance of getting obesity and diabetes. So how does undernutrition actually affect metabolism and its recovery? Thank you.
Good afternoon, respected sir. I'm Dr. Jayita Vidhu, Associate Professor at Vallabhbhai Patel Test Institute. My research interest is microplastics and their presence in human tissues and how they're associated with various human diseases. I am currently working on microplastic in bronchoalveolar lavage fluid and their correlation with the different pulmonary diseases with which patients presented. This program, my concept proposal was on whether we can microplastics by themselves or the plasticizers which are attached to the microplastics or enter the body in various other ways. Which amongst them is actually the culprit metabolic dysfunctions, because there is a lot of interest in microplastics, but I just wanted to whether the focus is rightly emphasized on microplastics or whether it should be a holistic approach to the plasticizers also in the discussion to find out which should be the major factor which causes the metabolic dysfunction.
Good afternoon, Respected sir. I am Professor Madhu Khanna. I am working in a Vallabhbhai Patel Chess Institute and in charge of virology department. And I am working on the respiratory viruses, antiviral and pathogenesis of respiratory and arboviruses. And also I'm in charge of the VRDL lab and in Patel Chess Institute. And my concept is today on the making chip on lung liver axis. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Professor Kashyap Dubey from the School of Biotech, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. I am working on an anti-obesity molecule, which is a lipostatic. Beside that, related to this network, I am working on removal of cancer drug and removal of triclosan from the hospital waste. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Dr. Harshvardhan Tirothia, Associate Professor at Department of Hepatology. Apart from core hepatology, my interest lies in artificial intelligence. We are working on core hepatology issues, which includes on acute liver failure in diagnosing them using CT imaging, in emergency for risk stratification, and also in the area of non-communicable diseases, where we are trying to use 3D anthropometric body measurements to diagnose patients with diabetes, hypertension, and so on. Thank you. So good afternoon, sir. So this is Jayanta Bhattacharya from Center for Biomedical Engineering, IIT Delhi. So my lab try to develop different biotherapeutics, especially immunotherapy for different healthcare applications, especially for cancer. And here, like I also want to use some combinatorial immunotherapy to harness immune system to intervene this liver disease. Thank you.
Hello, sir, and everyone. I am Dr. Isha Vaidya. I am assistant professor here in the Department of Artificial Intelligence, and my area of research is any kind of healthcare data and AI-based analytics for diagnostic, prognostic, and risk stratification. Here, I am proposing a study for advanced diffusion-weighted MRI-based deep learning computer vision risk stratification model for early diagnosis of hepatic encephalopathy in chronic liver disease. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Gayatri Ramakrishna. I'm a part of Team ILBS, and together with my colleagues, I'm working at the crossroads between aging and cancer. And one of our recent works, we are doing using the genetics as a tool to stratify patients, not only the cancers, but also with the alcoholic hepatitis. Thank you.
And finally, I'm so we were also joined from ICC Bangalore online, so they had the sessions online today. Thank you to all the speakers, Dr. Silva, scientific attaché at the French Institute, a distinguished expressions and Dr. Research at CMS and the Institute of Science, coordinated the scientific and extensive leadership in research, education, and scientific development, strengthening international cooperation and development of higher education and operations. This is the address.
Thank you. Thank you for this introduction. Esteemed distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and gentlemen, and as you are in a cross-cultural ecosystem, you will excuse my French English-speaking accent. It is really a great honor to join today to celebrate the second anniversary of the Indo-French Virtual Center on Fatty Liver Disease. And as we just heard from Professor Sarin, it's because even we are talking about developing a national center for liver disease, and not only liver metabolic disease in general. And but first, to express my sincere gratitude to the minister, because his presence today really reflects the importance that India attaches to international scientific collaboration and research addressing major societal and public health challenges. 3 months ago, France and India embarked on the initiative to bring together leading scientists and clinicians from our 2 countries to better understand and combat metabolic liver disease. This, as we have seen, is almost 40% of the world population. I did not imagine. I thought it was infectious disease, which was a major impact, but not. It's really a problem that we have to tackle. Today, we celebrate much more than an anniversary. We celebrate partnership that demonstrate how scientific excellency, when combined across border, can generate new knowledge, foster innovation, create lasting collaboration. And for that, it's really these words. The strength of these virtual groups lies on its multidisciplinary approach, because we have experts in hepatology, genomics, microbiology, metabolics, public health, regenerative medicine, clinical research, but to date, really to the technology and approach. And this is really congratulations. And this really creates an ecosystem able to combat the complexity of liver disease. What is really interesting is that the initiative really, for me, illustrates what can be the French model for scientific cooperation, because we consider the disease, but we consider the disease at a holistic manner. And we have seen this morning with the talk of Professor Gokle, what Professor Sarin present us. This is very important today. It's AI. But AI, I will say, okay, AI, it's an instrument to help us to understand, to integrate data, but we still need scientists, we still need clinicians, because it's very important to have this person to interpret the data. But using the strategical analysis is something very interesting, and to include AI to able to help us in this multidisciplinary task and this holistic manner to see disease, not only just the genetic background, the births, but also influence of on this disease. And I think it's something you also plan to look at it, which is very important. Just few minutes to thank Sahipra and to thank the director itself, because is organisms that celebrate 40 years last April, and an agency funded by DST, that's the Ministry of Science and Technology, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in France. And really, CEFIPRA, and particularly, I will say there's 2 last year, because now the code is 200 times success. Really, I think the model proposed by CEFIPRA, which is the model of InFLiMeN, that show, in fact, how you can, with relatively modest investment, when strategically coordinated, can generate outstanding scientific impact, such as we see today InFLiMeN. And this is done from pillars of our scientific cooperation, because we are really thinking with my investment and also some try to organize differently, to organize in network, specific network, but to promote link between those network together to really create a rich ecosystem. And I was thinking, because we have this the French campus for health, and I think that now InFLiMeN should be take a leadership really in the French campus for health, because what your strategy, what you demonstrate is really the spirit of what we want for this in the French campus on health. I will not be too long. What I will say, as we look towards the future, for sure, I believe that the time has come to take the next step for InFLiMeN, meaning to become a physical center, really. And for sure, I will not say, because we have seen these catalyze some collaborative research, advanced training, innovation, technologies transfer, clinical translation, but also partnership with industry, without forgetting the fact we need the exchange. We need also, as you do, I have to felicit InFLiMeN with all the workshops they organize in 2 years. This is really something, one of the best, I would say, in the French cooperation in terms of activity. Then the Embassy of France and the French Institute in India, I want to congratulate all scientists, clinicians, institutions, partners, and I know how the work of the scientists is very complicated. It's few try to do up-to-date science and try to communicate our patient, try to be very investigate, and I think you have very good the person of Professor Sarin, but I should also congratulate Nutama for her really active role that she played in InFLiMeN. I am really confident that this initiative will continue to grow and become a reference, at least in the context of Indo-French cooperation in biomedical research. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama, and for strengthening scientific partnership between the nations. Our guest of honor, Dr. most respected nutritionists and leaders. As founder, Dr. Paul has played in shaping India's policies and has been closely associated with response to COVID. His contribution to childhood medical education systems strengthening respect across the nations. Welcome, Dr.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Namaskar. Minister of Science and Technology and of Earth Sciences, Dr. Jitendra Singh, respected Professor Shiv Sarinji, Professor Vidul Dagaji, Excellency Dr. Sylvian Poet, faculty of ILBS, invitees, delegates, our guests from France, those on the virtual mode, as well as those who are present here, and ILBS family. I'm truly honored to be part of this very special event. It is special in many ways. A, it's a collaboration between two great nations of the world. It is a collaboration which is uniquely crafted and conceptualized by the partners. It's a collaboration which is glued by the Government of India, the Department of Science and Technology, and therefore it connects to the entire ecosystem of science and research and innovation of our nation. A very unique model of working together, a platform which brings scientists together, discussion together, energies and potential solutions from two nations for the benefit of all to be created in India, but for the benefit of all, as Dr. Sareen said. So congratulations, and I think that 2 years of great work call for a good applause, and I want to be a part of that applause. Thank you. And thank you, sir. You have blessed it from the beginning, and we look forward to your kind words on the guidance that you give to this unique and different and innovative way of working together. It's a celebration of science, a celebration of research and innovation. It's a celebration of friendship between two nations, and it's a celebration for the cause of solutions for disorders which are difficult to handle. Today, it is no news or no, basically stating the obvious that India's future longevity, future quality of life, in many, many ways depends on how we handle metabolic diseases, non-communicable diseases, the liver disease, diabetes, and kidney disorder, which are all linked together under the rubric of metabolic disease. The other challenge, of course, cancer and trauma and injuries. So we have transitioned from infectious diseases, maternal and child issues to something that this platform is trying to address in a big way. And we've seen improving understanding about the metabolic disease that afflicts Indians, which is in some ways and in many ways unique. And this must be understood. And therefore, having a platform of this nature which pushes the frontiers of our understanding of the bouquet of diseases that we are challenged with is therefore welcome, and all power to this initiative and to the work that you're doing. And I hope there will be great traction for the ideas put forth by Dr. Sareen. I'm a pediatrician by training, even within that neonatologist. Liver disease, hepatology is very remote. My wife worked on liver cancer at AIMS, so I have some connect. But I wish to bring your kind attention to issues for further research and collaboration.
bit of that I heard from the esteemed scientists, and I want to congratulate the scientists who came on the dais and those who are in the room. These two issues are following. I'm referring to the pediatric origins of NAFLD, the fatty liver disease. So, fatty liver, NAFLD affects 1 out of 3, 35% of India's population. When does it start? The children think PS2, adolescent, pre-adolescent. Not at 7 years, not in utero. My humble submission is that we have to understand this better. I don't think we fully understand this. We are seeing the epidemic and a huge burden later when we as adults present this as clinical conditions and trying to pick them up through the primary care approach to which the reference was made. But today, and I heard that you are interested in that work, but I think a whole body of research should be directed to the earliest understanding of the origin of fatty liver disease. And I have some, interaction at AIMS with my team, and some of my colleagues are working in this area, and I want to humbly submit that a lot more work should be done. What we know from Comprehensive National Nutrition Survey of 1819, that, and hear me out, 10% of Indian adolescents are pre-diabetic between the age of 10 to 18 years. I repeat, 10% pre-diabetic. Diabetics of smaller fraction. When does it get origin? When? And related to that are the liver condition, and in particular the connect with the fatty liver. So I'd like us to understand this better. I want to give a very crude analogy. It's not meant to be, in that sense, insightful. In pediatric nutrition, there is a whole lot of action that pans out when there is severe acute malnutrition. When did you severe acute malnutrition? We don't feed the child optimally before that, at 3 months, at 2 months, at 1 month, and 6 to 8 months. I like to see what we see as a epidemic later on in our Indian population. Where does it start and what triggers it, genetics or otherwise? Fetal condition, maternal conditions, environmental factors combined with genetic. So a greater understanding on this would be useful. And maybe, sir, you may like to begin with a good scientific seminar on the state of art, bring the research agencies also together. I believe with Dr. Behl's leadership at ICMR, we're very much interested in this area of work. So that's my first request, understanding the origins and then try to attack at the earliest. Of course, in addition to attacking it much later. Number 2 is a related question. We pediatric fatty liver disease often has obesity and overweight. Done. That's classical. But I'm conscious, even more conscious of the lean fatty liver disease. Fatty liver disease, to which the little reference was made, of starvation, undernourished children, fetal growth retarded children, IUGR children, small for dates babies who suffered from fetal growth restriction in utero, for reasons which are epigenetic and environmental. My concern is building on the Barker hypothesis that fetal growth retarded babies, IUGR babies, are predisposed in later life metabolic diseases because in the constrained environment of constrained nutrient restricted environment in utero, when they will experience constrained growth, their metabolism changes of conservation and protecting life at the cost of a lot of organ sizes and so on. And when there's plenty of these nutrients later, they cannot handle. That's broad Barker hypothesis. What I wish to challenge the team here is, and beyond, how do we handle the feeding of these children? So IUGR children predisposed to heart disease and metabolic disease. They are predisposed when food is available in plenty. But then in the earliest part of their life, they are undernourished. They are thin, they are stunted, they are wasted. My wish at that time as a pediatrician is to bring them from this trajectory to a normal trajectory. And I do it irrespective, I mean, I've dealt with feeding, breastfeeding, and nutrition, which is balanced nutrition. Where do I make a change to protect this baby from the diets which are known to produce imbalance of metabolic imbalance? When should I become conscious of the added risk of metabolic disease? Is it the third year? Within the first year? Is it after 5 years? My current understanding is we do not bother about this in IUGR babies till about 3 to 5 years. Feed them, bring them in the green zone, sustain them. Even IUGR babies have a right to normalize their trajectory. Is that the current state of art? And when does the switch happen? When this approach would lead to adverse outcomes, including fatty liver disease. So the question I pose is, what should be the future of science evidence-based food protocol for infants in general, because that must also be evolving, but particularly for babies who are small for dates, who have fetal growth restriction, so that we prevent them from future risk to the extent possible of acquiring metabolic disease and acquiring the fatty liver disease in the course of this. We do not have differential feeding guidelines as of today, and we are in a bit of a limbo. So this would be another area which is an applied area, because as I heard, there is an endeavor to prevent the course of change the course of potential fatty liver disease in our population. And I wonder whether that will require a differentiated approach of feeding for our children, in particular those who are low birth weight. These are my two suggestions, my little science input into liver disease and beyond. But I think these are important questions, and I am very honored to be here. And we look forward to connect, and happy to be able to be a facilitator in this discussion and beyond. But congratulations for 2 years of great work. I'm very honored to be here in the presence of the Honorable Minister. We look forward to his guidance in this area, because his lifetime's work has been in this space, and therefore it's a very, very special moment for us to have Honorable Sir here. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your input. It is to invite Chief Guest Dr. Jitendra Singh, the physician for diabetes and endocrinology. He is a professor, a consultant clinical practitioner, so chairman for National Scientific Committee for Diabetes and Research Society of Study of India.
The dais, our very senior colleague, former Professor Ames and former member of the Niti Aayog, and also an eminent pediatrician, Dr. Vinod Paul, Dr. Sylvania, Professor Madhul Kumar, and of course, Director ILBS, Dr. Salim, who is the man behind this entire initiative and also the spirit behind it. So I have to, in particular, congratulate Dr. Salim for his commitment, for his conviction, and also for his passion more than everything else. And he also deserves to be complimented for having taken upon himself this one-man campaign for the cause of liver in India. He's, constantly educating masses, educating each and every person that he comes across, and knowing him personally quite well, since all of us are researchers. You can try this out next time. You initiate talking any subject to Dr. Salim, he'll switch over to liver. And the other day I was complimenting someone in a lighter vein while talking to someone, and I said, Dr. Salim has converted half the Delhi to 2 cups of black coffee a day. But on a serious note, I really envy. I wish each one of us who are given to this business of research had the same kind of passion of breathing, eating, sleeping, the subject that we take upon ourselves. And indeed, it was his passion more than anything else that motivated me 2 years back to be here on the day this initiative, InFLiMeN, was established. And honestly speaking, I did not try to inquire much about what it was all about. But since it was being undertaken by Dr. Salim, I was quite convinced that it has to be something noble, something meaningful. And therefore, the moment he sent a message, he wanted me to be here for a new initiative, I was here. I also congratulate the Department of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Science and Technology, and the Inter Center for promotion of advanced for setting up this platform. And of course, the objective is very clear, as you have heard speaker after speaker, to check the rising menace of liver disease or the liver epidemic that is faced by India. There was a time not many years ago when we said that any patient coming to OPD for any disease, if you dig out the history, he or she would be having underlying diabetes, detected or undetected. And the same analogy has now shifted over to liver. Every third patient having a liver disease. And the matter of fact is, because this is all an informed audience, that this is actually a part of a larger metabolic nexus. India's liver epidemic, India's diabetes surge, obesity, and of course the Indian phenotypes getting all this even without being obese or with at a lower BMI. But it is a part of a larger metabolic nexus, and each one of the components of this nexus is linked to each other. And each one of this component also contributes or predisposes to the other. The insulin resistance contributing to everything else, not only type 2 diabetes mellitus per se, even cardiovascular disease, fatty liver, dyslipidemia, so and so forth. Some of them even call it the mother of all the metabolic disorders. But what is worrisome is that there has been a dramatic change in the epidemiological patterns in this country, in this peninsula as a whole, which also includes the Indian subcontinent, including the neighboring countries of Pakistan and Bangladesh. Now, the patient's profile is no longer conventional, as was being rightly mentioned by Dr. Vinod Paul, also others. You come across so many of them who are non-obese. The age profile is no longer restricted to the elderly age groups or the later decades of life. Earlier on, if you heard that somebody has been detected as type 2 diabetes mellitus, you would visualize must be in his 4th decade or 5th decade of life. Now you are getting even type 2 diabetes mellitus in 2nd decade. And all this, of course, we started. I remember as a resident once, we got a patient who had been detected as diabetes. His age was just about 30 years. He was an RV officer at AIIMS. And the teaching was that at this age, it is invariably type 1 diabetes mellitus, which was also sometimes those days referred to as insulin dependent. So we put him on insulin. And to our horror, we realized that we knew we would go into hypoglycemia. And we were at our wit's end, and finally, taking a very guarded risk, we decided to put him on metformin and asked him, because we were also very much apprehensive that if he goes into ketoacidosis or something like that, there will be a risk to his life. So we asked him if he has a problem, can he reach us? Because those days we didn't have mobile, etc. So he said, yes, there's a jeep in the cantonment, and he is authorized to move out even at odd hours, because that was the kind of assignment he was handling. So we guardedly put him on metformin, and we realized that within a week, he was euglycemic, his blood glucose levels were normal. There was no episode of hypoglycemia. And then suddenly we started wondering. So what I'm trying to say, even the conventional teaching has changed, the conventional understanding of all these metabolic disorders has changed. Thirdly, the region-wise. There was a time when all these diseases were more or less said to be a part of the South India epidemiology. Until about 90s, the late 90s, Dr. Vinod Paul would bear me out. We didn't have so much preference of type 2 diabetes mellitus in North India as we had in South India. And that is partly also the reason that the first ever independent department of diabetology in India was set up in Madras Medical College at Chennai. That was around 1980 or so. And then we did a study on the North Indians somewhere in late 90s, because the mass migration of this Kashmiri Pandit community had happened from the Kashmir Valley. And we found some of them, and we also published some of those case histories. Senior bureaucrats, learned subjects, persons, never having heard of diabetes. There was a case study where a senior officer told his attendant, look here, Delhi में गर्मी बहुत होती है, बार बार प्यास लगती है, so don't wait for me to order you. जैसे ही मेरा ग्लास पानी का खाली देखो भरते जाओ. And he carried on like this for many days before somebody told him that he could be, having something else. So that was the state of affairs. In a lighter way, but with a serious connotation, you could also say now there is a virtual democratization of diseases in India. And this is happening as a pan-India phenomena. I spent quite some time in Northeast also. I had the opportunity of being in South India, Northeast, North India and Central India. Northeast, you had problems of mostly head and neck cancers. Today, there also you have type 2 diabetes mellitus, which was not much known over there. And also fatty liver. So, and upon this, the Indian phenotype, as we all know. There are a number of studies. 3 generations later also, Indians who went and settled in UK continue to have more preponderance to develop these disorders, in spite of having lived in a different environment, in a different climate, and a different lifestyle for 3 generations, which means there's something inside our genes. So that is our added liability. And then the central obesity, which is said to be more prevalent in Indians compared to any other population. And central obesity in India is almost equal in males and females. That's the problem. And the irony is that Indians apparently look lean and thin. When CT scan had just started happening in India in the 90s, we did a study where we actually scanned some of the Westerners vis-a-vis the Asians or the Indians. And the Westerners were apparently obese, but didn't have much of visceral fat. But in case of Indians, it was just the reverse. And central obesity, as we all know, is a risk factor independent of overall obesity. So that is again our problem. So we already have some inherent issues of phenotype preponderance, of central obesity preponderance. Thankfully, we have such sartorial habits. You can put in a 6 inches long sari, or you can put in a long kurta, your center gets camouflaged. And apparently you look smart and lean and thin. And even the recent National Health Survey, which was published only last month, it was amazing. In fact, I called up immediately one of my endocrinology colleagues in the morning. I said, I am learning this. Am I right? Or you correct me? The females, Dr. Paul, the female prevalence is 40% and male is 37%. Normally in this country, males have always been little ahead in falling sick. So I literally called up and I said, is this right? Yes. And I was told yes, which means even the gender epidemiology is undergoing a change in this country. Maybe the lifestyles have become more and more common. Maybe physical activity levels are also getting democratized. We have so much talk about gender equality. It is now manifesting even in disease. And therefore, this is not only something which is left to a medical alone. It's not only a medico's concern. It's rather a national concern. And that's the reason Prime Minister Modi has been reiterating about the issues related to obesity, even once advocated reducing the use of pills, etc. But taking up the cue from the lady who was mentioning microplastics, in medical science, liver is considered to be the most resilient organ and also much, much more regenerative. Its tolerance levels are much higher compared to any other organ. And this has been something which is, of course, now we have documented evidence, but it has been known over the generations. It's been a part of our folklore. It's been part of our grandmother tales. And that's why it's also became a part of our literature, poetry. There's a famous couplet by one of the poets who lived in the times of Ghalib, Amir Minai. I know how many of you would have heard it. He said, "Sare jahan ka dard hamare jigar mein hai." My jigar has the capacity to absorb the woes, the sorrows of the entire world. So, sare jahan ka dard mere jigar mein hai. So famous or infamous has been the resilience of this strange organ situated on the right side of abdomen. And therefore, if that be so, the question would be, what have we done or what has happened to compromise this resilience? Maybe we mortal beings have been very ruthlessly cruel to this organ. Leave aside the phenotype factors, leave aside the central obesity preponderance, leave aside our natural, leave aside even markers, as Dr. Prinod Paul was rightly mentioned. What else which could be preventable or could still be? Maybe our lifestyle, maybe our food habits, maybe our sleep patterns, maybe our stress levels, maybe our environment factors, maybe all the pollutants around, in water, in air, in food. There have to be certain factors which have added to this sudden upsurge. And that is something that has to be the focus of concern. And therefore, I'm glad Dr. Sareen has picked this up as a mission for himself. I think the 4 or 5 priorities have to be, of course, as he rightly mentioned, in relation to the Indian specific phenotype, the biomarkers, the genetic factors. I was quite impressed seeing that they have set up a national liver biobank, as you showed in one of your slides. Then, of course, the affordable early diagnostic options for community level screening, which, of course, this government has been right from day one. Prime Minister himself has been indulgent for affordable, accessible healthcare. But now the time has come for preventive health care, because as I said, it's not only an individual's concern, it's a national concern. When we talk of Viksit Bharat, it's the generation of these youngsters who have been destined to hoist their flag of 2047. So preserving their energies and potentials for a better cause is a responsibility of each one of us, not only the medical professionals alone. And therefore aligning with the Government of India's flagship programs, whether it be Fit India, whether it be digital health, etc. And of course, the Indian data, as Dr. Sari rightly mentioned. I've always believed Indian data for Indian solutions, Indian treatment for Indian diseases. For a very long time, even in tropical diseases, the communicable diseases, we were following treatment regimens prescribed by the Western physicians who come to India, do their research here. Donovan came to India, worked on leishmaniasis, went back, wrote the book, we followed it. So also tuberculosis. I think the first time ever Professor Ahuja came out with a book on tuberculosis. That has been our irony. We have not been very serious scholars as far as our data generation is concerned. Westerners were either they were using half of their data, half of the data which they had their infrequent visits to this country, and we followed them. But now we are into this. For that, I think what will be required is collaboration. We are now also open to the private sector. I'm glad that you have collaborated with the Department of Science and Technology. We also have another department, the same ministry called the Department of Biotechnology, which is very much into this. We have finished gene sequencing for 10,000 individuals. We hope to do this for 1 million to begin with. We have a huge genome bank now and a genome mission. So we could be aligned with that too. DST, of course, for setting up this platform, for spending money. But today there is also something called knowledge partner. So DBT could be the knowledge partner. And now in the times to come, we are going to be into the era of precision medicine, which is more relevant to all of us, the physicians. We've already started working on it in the Department of Biotechnology. Tomorrow, 5 patients of similar profile fatty liver may require a different prescription, depending on the genetic profile, depending on the lifestyle, depending on the environment. So that is where the biotechnology would also come in, and tools like AI. I was glad you were already into this, because that makes the task far more easier. And therefore, before I conclude, I would just say, and I would rather reiterate, that this is a subject too serious to be left to a medical law. So unless you have involvement of the society, you have a mass movement and an awareness campaign. And more than that, at the risk of sounding impolite, the check on the disinformation campaign. Ever since you started talking about obesity, ever since experts like Dr. Vinod Pal started talking about healthy eating habits, Delhi has now a flourishing new genre of dietitians, nutritionists. I don't know where they have been trained from. And they are doing a good business and churning out all kind of fancy prescriptions. And the more fancy the prescription, the more the number of customers. Suppose I give a prescription and write 7 different breakfasts for you for 7 days of the week. One day dosa, second day upama, third day paratha. I'll sound more attractive. So I think that is something also that we have to do, because the only thing in this age of communication being so easy with social media, etc., the only way to neutralize that is that we become more active. We become more proactive. People like Dr. Sareen, who are into this, find support, also find a larger team of followers who can carry this message much, much more loudly, much, much more effectively, so that the inappropriate messaging gets neutralized. And therefore, I'm sure all of us will join together with Dr. Sareen in carrying forward this campaign to carry to its logical conclusion. But the measure would only be when we don't have the dubious distinction of being number 2 in the world in diabetes and number 3 in the world in fatty liver. Unless that dubious distinction is shed off, we can't be looking for any better distinction. So that is a common endeavor, as I said, not only for national cause, but also for national honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and a big round of applause for the appreciation and the assurance for setting up the center, sir. We are grateful, sir. Thank you so much. Steve Jobs said that initial distinctions between and follower. Your leader, thank you, sensor. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for inspiring us and engaging scientific excellence, innovations, and translational research in India. Now, I please request Dr. On behalf of Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences, I extend our heartfelt gratitude and thanks to Honorable Minister of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, for gracing this occasion and giving us the blessings for the InFLiMeN note. We are also very thankful to Dr. Vinod Pal Sarji for gracing this event and sharing his vision for advancing scientific research in the crucial field of liver and metabolic disorder. Sir, I would like to tell you something here, that you told that in the pediatrics, MAFFOLD is needed. And one of my colleague, Dr. Savneet Kaur, she has started the MAFFOLD in the neonates. Yes, she's here. She will see you soon. So our department is working in this area with Dr. Sareen, of course, blessings. So we extend our gratitude to our special invitee, French attaché for scientific and academic cooperation, Dr. Sylvain Pete. We also express our deep appreciation for Dr. Nitin Seth, Director SAFITRA, who helped us with his best ideas and continues to reach our goal. However, sir, our thanks will be less if I won't count Dr. Praveen Kumar. Dr. Praveen Kumar from DST, who helped us every minute, every time to setting up this InFLiMeN node. So we humbly acknowledge the presence of French partners also, who today also joined, like Dr. Sylvain Muller, Dr. Nalt, the morning he joined, sir, and Dr. Boytodd joined us in this event. The ultimate aim of this event is to act as a scientific ecosystem where all scientific collaboration resulting to projects solely crafted by an expert who said, Dr. Shiv Kumar Singh. We are very grateful for his expression, and his excellent clinician scientist has always motivated us and the cause for translational research. Along with our team from our Vice Chancellor, Sir Dr. Daga, who is fine clinician as well as fine administrator. So we hope that this joint initiative of all Indian partners who joined today, online and offline, along with the French scientists, will prove to be fruitful in bringing about the advancements that hold the promise of transforming patient care all over the world. Therefore, we are very thankful for all the Indian partners who joined us today in this event. I'm very thankful, and as a team, we are very thankful to the MCM faculty who made this InFLiMeN really fruitful.
Dr. Colonel Ram, Dr. Arun Rastogi, and our engineering department, especially IT department, Mr. Gaurav, who give us the always support for conducting this event. So in the last, I really thank sir all the dignitaries and giving us the opportunity and giving the blessing. This is the third anniversary, and I hope that we all will celebrate continuation in the at least in all the years. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I request Dr. Praveen to join us. The dignitary for the organization of the system. All the delegates to be seated. The delegates for lunch on first floor. We request all the delegates to join us for lunch on the first floor. And to kindly come back again after lunch so that we can have a time